Hey, my name is David Foster. I'm the pastor of thegatheringnashville.com. We meet in the Nashville area. It's a church I planted about 2 years ago. Been in Nashville almost 20 years. I planted a church across on the other side of town, about 40 miles away. Moved over here over 2 years ago to plant the Gathering in a whole other section of town. And so I'm a church planter. I've been a pastor for a very long time. And so love what I do, love being a pastor, never been more excited about being a part of leadership in the American church movement. I want to just give you one thing. I've been asked if there's one thing, if I could sit down with the pastors, the leaders in the American church movement, and give them one idea, one thing I've learned or one thing I care about, what would it be? Well, when I thought about it, it didn't take very long. It's the idea of preparation. How important it is, how central it is to your effectiveness with the gospel in every area, but mainly in the area of communicating the gospel, of telling people the story of the gospel over time. You think about it, as a pastor, you're really unique, and in a church environment, it's really unique because we have the same audience over and over and over again, hopefully for years. You know, let's just say the average person, let's just say they came 30 times a year for 5 years. I mean, think about it. In most environments, you have an audience one time, and then you go on to something else, and you can give that talk over and over again. You know, great speakers in the land can have 5 or 6 talks that they give the rest of their lives. As pastors, we're speaking sometimes 50, 48, 40 times a year to the same people year after year after year. In my case, at one church for over 17 years, and now at the Gathering for over 2 years. So how do you stay fresh? How do you stay current? How do you keep people challenged? How do you continue to grow? How do you give talks in your part-time? Because you think about it, as a pastor and as a leader, or a leader in any environment, you are doing so many other things other than the act of communication, whether it's marketing on a stage, through print, or a lot of other things. All of these things take preparation. Preparation is the key to longevity. It is the key to effectiveness. Time to prepare. So if I could make one change in the American church movement, if I could go into every church and make one change, I would make sure that preparation was a priority. That you know, quality time, hours upon hours of time every week were carved out for a pastor, for a speaker, for a teacher, for a leader who communicates in front of people, to have time to pray, to think, to write, to allow things to simmer, to live in the flow, so that when you stand up and teach that class or lead that staff or speak to that congregation, you are speaking always and only out of the overflow. It takes time to prepare, to know how to communicate the gospel in the context, to the culture, to the moment, to the crisis of where you are. That all takes preparation. Too many of us are basically preparing the week of, and I'm afraid a larger amount than we want to admit are preparing to speak the night before. And that simply is cheating you, cheating everyone else. You have to be brave enough as a leader to say no to a lot of very good things. Here's what I know. If you are a pastor or a leader, you know, in the American church movement, you feel like you've been called to this, then you love people. You have a compassion for people. That's on the upside. On the downside, you realize that you're part of a business. You have to meet payroll. You have a lot of financial obligations. And so on the one side, you want to make people happy. So you've got, on both sides, you have the pressure to spend your time with people, making people happy, and just because you care about them, trying to heal them or fix them or minister to them, to do the weddings, to do the hospitals and all these kinds of things. For me, it's never been really, if I'll be honest, I hate going to the hospital. I've said that before. What a stupid thing to say. I really love people, and I love to be there to help them where I can. I hate to do weddings. Well, I don't like to do weddings where, I don't feel like the people getting married are prepared to be married, not just get married. So the point is this, if you marry people and if you minister to people, it takes time. right? And you have to give that time away from things that are core. Here's the core. Preparation time every single week, both intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, personally, to be ready to get up and speak under the anointing of God out of the overflow, so that people see you doing something that is effortless and that is profound to them and compelling and engaging. But let's be honest. A lot of preaching, and I listen to a good amount. I listen to probably 15 podcasts a week. Not always the same, but I listen to different ones. And here's what I'm hearing. A lot of imitation, a lot of really shallow things. Listen, stringing together a lot of truth sentences isn't communication. It takes time for this stuff to get in you and saturate through you and to come out of your heart as something that's personal and profound and compelling. Again, it's all about preparation. It takes time to read. When's the last book? I'm not talking about skimming. I'm talking about reading. When's the last time that you really nurtured yourself and fed yourself and allow what you teach to come out of the overflow of the very thing you're experiencing yourself? If you continue to give and give and give and give and pour and pour and pour, you can do that for a long time. I mean, honestly, some of the sharpest people on the planet do what we do. I mean, they're a part of the American church movement, and because of that, they can go a very long time on just giving out and giving out and giving out. How many times have I seen young, really gifted speakers and communicators and leaders get up and just shoot from the hip? And over time, that catches up to you. And when that well runs dry, really bad things can happen. I'm talking about moral failure and all kinds of things that we do to try to cover up the fact that we're not speaking and leading out of the overflow. We are dried up. The creek bed is dried up. We have poured out every drop of anything creative and healthy that we have inside of us. And we are dry and parched and in many cases mad and angry and upset because the results haven't been there or the response hasn't been there, and we do really stupid things. So here's what I'm begging you to do. Carve out time every week to prepare. Make preparation central. Help people on your staff to understand how important time that's not interrupted by emergencies or staff issues is a price that we all pay for long-term effectiveness. Take the time to prepare ahead of time. Write your series, plan your year, and then work that plan. It takes time to plan. It takes time to prepare, and then the execution, the delivery, then begins to take care of itself. If you have a great plan, you work that plan in diligent preparation, and then the fruit will begin to take care of itself. So, preparation, study, preparing yourself, saying no to a lot of other things, having a plan on a calendar, getting your technologies together, getting your system together, how you gather information, how you put it together, what you're going to do, and get in that rhythm so that every 7 days you're standing up out of the overflow. I'm David Foster, and my prayer for you is that you will be prepared and compelling and engaging 52 weekends a year.